Okay, so filling our 4500s, we've just filled a 2216 and we're going to make the changeover now. So what we're going to do, I'm going to dial the regulator back to 0. That's just venting the pressure that are in these lines here. We're going to make our switch to 4500. And this is already at 4500, but if we were doing the bypass, we of course would switch it to 4500. So airflow, fill station, supply, regulator, fill pressure, and just follow the arrows to where you want it to go. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to 45. We're gonna go to bank 3 just like we did before, so let's dial our pressure up. Now just before we get going, so we can see here's our pressure. So we're at just over 2,000 on our bulk bank, our 3-tank bank. We're at 3,000 on our second bank, and we've got over 4,500 in bank 1. So you're gonna hear, as I dial the regulator up, lots of squawking, and I'm actually gonna show you the supply pressure gauge, and you're going to see it's going to bounce between as the demand is sensed on the other side. It's going to switch. There you go. It switched from bank 1 to bank 2, and now it's had to go up to bank 3 because it needs more. So it's going to manually decide which bank to pull from. So dialing up to 4,500. There we go. Okay. Show you the fill valves in here, so we'll open the door up again. I'm going to be using my same 22,600 PSI cylinder for the demo, but same fill position. We've now switched to the green fill whip, our 4,500 fill whip. Spot number 2, so here's our gauge and our control valve in the green. Before we go through the fill, I'll just show you real quick. These silver fill lines, the ones that are all attached to the green, the fill connectors, they're a safety fill line. If they are connected to a 2216 SCBA by accident, you cannot fill it to 4,500, they'll leak, and I'll show you that when we close the door. So pretend fireman didn't know what he was doing. He's got a 2216, he's thinking it's 4,500, he's connected the fill hose, he's closed the valve, the bleed valve, he's opened the cylinder, he's going to close the door and he's going to try and fill it to 4,500. Okay, position number 2, try our fill. You can hear the leak in the back. It's not filling at all, it's venting out. So the safety fill connector's done its job and it's prevented them from overfilling a 2216. Okay, we'll pretend for the sake of time that is a correct cylinder. So we've filled it to 4,500. Our gauge has come up like the 2216. We shut that individual valve off or any others that might be there. We open our door. We're going to shut the cylinder valve off, and we're going to bleed off any residual air in the fill line. There isn't any in there because the fill connector's done its job, and it's not allowed us to put 4,500 pounds in a 2216 cylinder. So I'm not going to demo it, I'll just show you, Will. So okay, we were set up for 4,500. If you're going to go and use that bypass, whether it's going to be for their bench testing or if in future they want to fill apparatus bottles or something like that, all they're going to do again, we always start from 0. And we're going to switch that arrow to the bypass. So here's your bypass here. That's the connector. We just got a cap on it right now. And here's your on-off valve. So even if you're on bypass, you can quickly shut this off to change fill lines or whatever it might be. There's your on-off valve for your bypass, and here's your connection. JIC 1/4 inch, so it'll connect to any of the high pressure air hose. So yeah, I don't know that I want to show. One last thing. When you're initially filling these storage bottles, you may see as the compressor is filling, as there's a large volume of air flowing, that you may get frost on the connections or ice, or it gets super cold. That's normal. It's nothing to be worried about. It's just the airflow causing a super chill on those fittings. So our numbers are with all the manuals and that. You've got my cell phone number. Just give me a call if you've got any questions when you're doing your setup. Thanks, Will.